We need more action, more bipartisanship, and we need to move quickly. We need to move fast.
For more on this, I'd like to bring in our international affairs editor, Armen Georgian. Armen, great to see you this Monday. I want to delve into the executive measures that may be signed in the first days of Biden's presidency with you. Would I be accurate in saying that potentially one of the most welcomed orders will be the one on climate change?
That's definitely going to be very welcome in the European Union, Sanam, because the EU just a few weeks ago agreed to its own targets for 2030. We can already tell from the reactions in the EU that the EU essentially appreciates the change in mood music in Washington. And of course, Donald Trump, he not only headed a climate change skeptic administration. It wasn't just rhetorical. He actually rolled back a lot of regulation to do with the environment during his 4 years. And also, according to Climate Action Tracker, which is a scientific analysis, they say that there were significant exports of gas by the Trump administration, an increase in gas exports, which also contributed to greenhouse gas emissions outside the US. What's kind of interesting is if you look at the things that Trump aimed to do in his campaign when he was trying to become president was, about bringing back the coal industry, and he kept talking about beautiful, clean coal. That didn't actually happen in the end. Trump didn't stop, really, the decline of coal, despite all his talk about coal. And he didn't really stop the rise of renewables. Those things had their own economic rationale. Also, I think, some of the direst predictions about Trump, that once he withdrew from the Paris Climate Agreement, the whole thing will collapse because other countries will withdraw. It will be a domino effect. That didn't happen either. So I think some of the direst predictions about Trump didn't come true. Nonetheless, as I said, there were these rollbacks on regulation, these increases in gas exports. So all that, of course, is something that many other countries, I'm sure, will be looking forward to a change in policy.
Indeed, and I want to change and shift the attention from Donald Trump to the man who will be at the helm in the coming week. Do we have any ideas of what Joe Biden's climate plans look like?
Well, he's actually got a 9-point climate plan on his website, and he ran on this agenda, of course, in the election campaign. The one which kind of really jumps out at me when I'm sort of trying to think about how he can get things done, because he's going to have to work with Congress in certain areas. He talks about by 2021, Congress should enact legislation that puts us on an irreversible path to achieving economy-wide net zero emissions by 2050. So he's acknowledging that he's not going to be able to do that on his own. Essentially, the most sweeping climate legislation will have to go through Congress. Now, obviously, things look better for him now that the Democrats have taken back control of Senate. But, Sanam, as you know, it's still a very, very, very narrow majority for the Democrats in Senate, and therefore it's going to be hard to enact really major legislation. He may be able to do more sort of modest things, but certainly this is the golden window for him now. Between now and November 2022, he's got these 2 years before the midterm elections happen, when the balance of power could shift again to perhaps a Republican majority. So now that he has this unified Democratic control of the American government, this is really the time for him to do something.
Indeed, but it goes without saying that he does face a plethora of challenges as he takes office. Armen Georgian, thank you so much for that analysis. And